Yeah, so I get this question all the time, and I wanted you to answer it because you are the lead dietitian over at Signos and you know all things blood sugar. And I wanted to pick your brain today about it. The question is, why does food order matter? And I've done some tests on this on my page with some really significant results that were really good. But maybe you can break this down for us as to why this matters and what's actually happening with food order.
Yes. So you can see a different response in your glucose depending not just on like what we're eating, but how we're eating. So the meal order, um, you can pretty much reduce the spike without even getting rid of your favorite meal or really changing what you're eating. And it's interesting because we used to not think that meal order mattered, as long as your meals are balanced. But, there have been studies in the science shows otherwise. There was a 2020 Cornell study with patients with type 2 diabetes and obesity, and that confirmed that eating macros in a specific sequence can lower your body's glucose response by as much as 40%, which is
Wow.
huge. And,
Yeah.
what is that sequence or what is the order? It is starting your meal off with colorful vegetables, then going into proteins, healthy fats, and ending your meal with those carbohydrates. So, always
Yeah.
starting with vegetables first in your meal when possible. And we can go over in just a little bit of like examples and how to do that. But do you know why, Justin, like it makes such a big difference when you are starting your meal off with vegetables, or what is impacting your glucose?
I have several ideas about it that I've read about, but I want to hear it directly from you. From what I know is that when that fiber enters into your small intestine there, it slows down the digestion process, and that really helps to mitigate the carb uh, influx or the rate at which the other carbs that are being absorbed later on that you eat. Is that on the right track?
Yes, you are absolutely on the right track. It is the fiber which makes a huge impact. Fiber has so many benefits. It helps support the digestive system. It helps with weight loss. It keeps us fuller longer. It can lower our blood pressure. It can improve cholesterol. I can go on and on. But it specifically improves our blood sugar control and increases our insulin sensitivity. We you always hear, just from guidelines and in the nutrition world, like eat more fiber, and that's just the truth. We need to eat more fiber. For American women, we recommend at least 25 grams per day. For men, 38 grams per day. But we are not getting enough. We're mostly getting around 10 grams, 10 to 15 grams per day. And, starting your meals with vegetables will not only allow us to get more fiber, but it also improves glucose control. So it really is a win-win there. And going into how it works, you're absolutely right. There's a couple different reasons why that fiber helps to reduce the spike. So, first, we have soluble fiber, which is this fiber that dissolves in water. It forms that gel like substance during digestion, and it reduces how much your glucose increases after the meal. Then we have that insoluble fiber, which doesn't dissolve in water, but it acts kind of as that roughage and helps promote regularity. Well, this supports insulin sensitivity. It helps improve insulin sensitivity. So it's basically easier for our cells to take in that glucose after a meal. So both soluble and insoluble fiber are equally as important, and they help maintain stable glucose levels throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I really noticed, and it's evident with the videos that I did on this food order method, which I think I got about a 30% difference just by eating in the correct
Yes.
order.
So
And it's significant. What I also noticed, and you'd mentioned it earlier, is that when you eat these vegetables first, you feel more satiated, and I'm less likely to overeat in that meal if I have those first.
it
It
keeps
just fills you up, that roughage.
absolutely. So, what did you have when you experimented? Did you try this?
So I try to standardize the meals so each test is like equal. So I had a can of tuna. I had, I think, 6 ounces of broccoli. Sorry, I started with 6 ounces of broccoli, then a can of tuna, then a portion of avocado. I think it was around half of an avocado, but I portioned it out properly. And then white rice was the last one.
And did you notice a change when you had that
Oh,
broccoli?
Oh yeah, yeah, totally, totally. The broccoli, and I've done tests with the different macros as well too, against a Snickers bar. So I had 6 ounces of broccoli before I had the Snickers bar. I had a can of tuna before the Snickers bar. It was a can of tuna. Yeah, I think it was a can of tuna. But or it may have been eggs. But I did all the different macros, and the fiber from the vegetables had the best impact on that blood sugar spike.
Yeah,
So
so fascinating.
yeah,
We see this with our members. Maybe you can enjoy the Snickers bar, but just have some vegetables beforehand. Start your meal with those vegetables, whether it's broccoli or some leafy greens with maybe like some apple cider vinegar as like a
yeah,
dressing, just to help really reduce and mitigate that spike. So we always recommend that our members experiment, and they use the CGM, they use the Signos program, they log their meals and they experiment. Maybe it's kind of exactly what you did. You have your meal, you just eat it how you normally would, then have that same meal and then try and eating the vegetables first to see if that makes an impact.
yeah,
Um, it's I always try and do this, especially when you have a meal like that. Let's say you have tuna, avocado, then your broccoli and your rice, and it's kind of just on the plate. It's really easy to start with that broccoli first, or maybe you start with a salad. Our
yes,
members are so creative. I've seen them like, and I've tried doing this myself too, is like if I'm eating pasta, put the pasta in the bottom and then like load it with protein, maybe some cheese, olive oil, and then top it with like sauteed spinach or top it with your broccoli. And that way, when you're eating it, you're eating your vegetable first within that meal. So it's
yeah,
always fun to see how you can add that vegetable item first to help mitigate the spike. But we recommend doing that like as much as you can. But if you're eating lasagna, maybe a little bit harder, but maybe that's when you incorporate like a handful of vegetables. I my go-to lately has been like the mini bell peppers. Like I just
yeah.
love those first just to get some vegetables before my meal. So it's really fun to like try this experiment yourself to see how that fiber and how those vegetables help improve your glucose response.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting about it is that if you follow the traditional meal like order, so you have a salad first, then you have your main course, and then you have dessert. That's similar to this, but if you look at your main course in the same way, if you look at your plate, you say, okay, I'm going to divide even this main course into the food order here. Do the high fiber vegetables first, protein, fats, and then the starches. That adds an additional benefit to it. So I like to do arugula salad. So after many different tests, I'm not a vegetable person. I grew up on junk food, hot dogs and hamburgers and pizza. So I was a junk food guy most of my life. And so I experiment with different foods to find out which vegetables I like. So one of my favorite salads to eat is arugula salad, and it happens to be very high in fiber. It's a cruciferous vegetable, so there are a lot of benefits to it. And if I'm having like pizza or pasta or something like that, I'll have an arugula salad, like you said, with an apple cider vinegar and extra virgin olive oil dressing, and that really really helps. And you just have to kind of experiment and find the salad that you like, keep it on hand, and it really goes a long way in preventing or minimizing those blood sugar spikes.
Yeah,
It's fascinating actually how it works.
yeah, and there are so many colorful, non-starchy vegetables out there. So you choose what you like and what's best for you, and that's sustainable. Like if you don't like broccoli, then don't have broccoli.
Yeah,
But if you love mushrooms or carrots or leafy greens, then go for it. We want this to be something that is enjoyable, that's sustainable, something that you enjoy and just like you can do on a regular basis versus like just having to eat something that you don't like. So that's it. You get to have fun, experiment, try all the different colorful vegetables, and really see what works best for you.
yeah,
And in our app, we actually have over 50 expert created activities. They were created by experts in behavior change. And one of the activities is a meal order activity.
yeah,
So it's really, it walks you through it. So if you're not sure what to do, or maybe like intimidating at first, We can take you through that to see like how you respond. You'll log your meals in the app, and you can try with like some type of green starter, like a green salad with some balsamic vinegar before the meal to see if that helps. And so you can actually see your response in the app, and we walk you through how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's something that I found that works for me. And part of the problem with not being a vegetable person is I'll buy the vegetables and with good intentions, I'll put them in the refrigerator, and then I'll say I'm going to eat these vegetables, and I don't, and they end up going off before because they have a very short time period. There's a short window when you buy fresh vegetables that you have to eat them before they go off. So a pro tip for me is to buy the frozen vegetables,
Yes.
keep them in the freezer, and take them out as you need them. They last almost indefinitely, and they're handy and they're there. And you can find which ones you like. I happen to like the frozen broccoli. It's not bad. I've been putting frozen broccoli chunks in a smoothie in the morning with fresh blueberries. So I'm getting my servings of broccoli and these cruciferous vegetables, which are so beneficial. And you barely even know they're there. But buying the frozen veg has been a real help for me because number one, they're cheaper, they last longer, and they're just more convenient.
And they're flash frozen right then and there. So they contain just as many nutrients as you would with a fresh vegetable.
Yep.
So like you don't have to worry about that. That is such a great tip. I love just stocking up on all different types of frozen vegetables. I will even take them, like you said, you could throw frozen zucchini or cauliflower or broccoli in a smoothie, or I'll just take them straight from frozen, olive oil, salt, and pepper, and put them in the oven. And you can bake a ton of vegetables and like have that in your fridge, ready to go for when you start your next meal, whether it's like your lunch or your dinner, or bonus if you can get vegetables in for breakfast. That is awesome. That in your smoothie, or maybe you have some frozen vegetables that you just throw in and saute with some scrambled eggs, just to help get as many vegetables, help get as much fiber as possible. That is the goal. We just aren't eating enough. So any way that you can grab them, sneak them in. I'll even tell some of our members to, buy a veggie platter from the grocery store. Just buy the veggie platter, keep it in your fridge, grab a handful, eat that before your meal. Very, very simple. It does not have to be complicated. Or buy a bag of arugula, like a little bit of arugula, a little salt and pepper, a vinegar and olive oil. It's simple and delicious, and that's a great, easy way to start your meal with some vegetables.
Absolutely. I think the key to eating vegetables, if you're like I said, I grew up on junk food, and it's difficult for me to enjoy just vegetables that are not seasoned well. So I think the key for me is to season your vegetables well. And I always start with a base of the apple cider vinegar because of the blood sugar benefits with that, and extra virgin olive oil, two of those core ingredients that are very healthy for you. I start with that. Then I add like fresh crushed garlic in there, or some chili flakes, salt and pepper to taste. And you can do any number of combinations. Just find your favorite spices or seasonings and use that in that base of apple cider vinegar and extra virgin olive oil. You can put it on top of, after you roast your vegetables, you can put it on top that way, or you can use it as a salad dressing. To me, that's a big issue, is trying to make the vegetables taste great so you actually enjoy it. It's not a chore. Oh, I got to eat the vegetables before to keep my blood sugar down. The goal is to make this a habit that you can sustain, and to do that, you need to be able to enjoy those vegetables. So I want to be getting into some of these recipes that I'm trying out right now with regard to salad dressings and just different seasonings that you can put on your vegetables so they are palatable, and you want to eat them. That's the trick. You got to want to eat this stuff, not feel obligated to.
It's like we tend to think like vegetables have to be like, boiled Brussels sprouts, but like you take Brussels sprouts and you roast them in like a good olive oil or an avocado oil. You season with salt, pepper, garlic, they're delicious, or you throw them in the air fryer, crisp them up. I mean,
air fryer's great.
Yeah. So it's just a way that's like super enjoyable, but seasoning a good healthy fat, whether it's coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, butter, like that also adds flavor too. So some way to get the seasoning, the good healthy fat to cook it in, and the nice vegetable, whether frozen or fresh, both great options. Experiment with not just eating vegetables first, but experiment with cooking vegetables and what works best for you, as far as like your taste buds and the flavor profile that you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Alyssa, thank you so much for clarifying everything today.
Yes, you're welcome.
I know that's my goal is to include more of these leafy greens, these high fiber vegetables. I really like the cruciferous vegetables. I know they have an amazing impact on your health. So I'm trying to get more of them in. I know firsthand from the glucose monitor, from the Signos monitor, just how effective they are at reducing those blood sugar spikes. It's really quite fascinating how well they work.
They do.
So I'm trying to get more of them in. I'm trying to make them habits, eating these vegetables habits and it really pays off. It just really does.
It does. And keep in mind that you can still enjoy some of those foods. Just start with the vegetables.
Yeah.
Get those vegetables. That is the number one tip.
Yeah.
Get those vegetables.
Yeah, eat them.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Alyssa. If you guys are interested in getting your own Signos monitor, there's a link in the bio with 15% off. And we'll see you again soon, Alyssa. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take care.